You don't know who that is? And I go, no, it's my first tournament. And he goes, he said, that's Steve Sanders. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. He said, man, you know, we had 2 black belts and Arnold Urquidez. And Steve went through them like Grant went through Richmond.
Wow. Okay, Kung Fu Chronicles, yep, we are back in the building, Sifu Quasi in the house, and yes, we've got another spotlight, and it's gonna be a special one. But before we do that, you know the deal. Do me a little favor, drop a little love down below, go ahead and hit that little like button, it's right down there, yeah, come on. You know you want to. Just do it. I like you. Share the video if you can. That, of course, helps me out a big dose as well, especially if you guys like interviews with iconic martial artists like this. Let us know down below so that, of course, we can make more of them.
I want more.
Follow us on all of our social media platforms. That way you stay up to date with everything we've got going on with the channel. We're definitely going to step things up in this new year, okay? And you can hold me to that. You guys know your support means the most to me. And of course, thank you for getting us past that 5K subscriber mark. 5,000. Oh my goodness. When we started this only a couple years ago, we had a few of you guys, and look where things go, right? Feel free to comment down below on things you guys would like to see in future videos. Let's grow, let's go. You know that's my motto. Okay, on to business. We've got Sensei Cecil Peoples up this time. And if you don't know him, you're about to, because he's got an amazing martial arts history as a martial artist, a competitor, and of course now even a referee. So let's get it poppin'. I'm here with a very renowned martial artist, tournament winner, martial art Hall of Famer, and now renowned referee, Sensei Cecil Peoples. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very good, very good. Glad you could make it out here. And I got to thank my friend Gus out here in the village, but this is a very special one because I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and I know some of your, you know, how you got started in martial arts. And I know you're originally from Alabama, correct? There it is.
Roll Tide.
There it is.
Roll Tide.
So how did you get started in the martial arts originally?
You know, Bruce Lee, like everybody else did. You know, when I was living in Alabama, the Green Hornet was on then, and then when I came to California, it was more Bruce Lee, you know, then they did the reruns, you know, and so it was Bruce Lee, and but I didn't, for whatever reason, I knew I couldn't do all that stuff he was doing, so I went to a Kung Fu school, and I was like, should I do this or should I do karate? A friend of mine said, man, you don't want to do Kung Fu, you want to do karate. And I go, yeah, why? And he goes, well, that's where all the brothers in Pacoima goes to this cat in North Hollywood named Bill. And so they go take karate from him. So I went there and I saw him on TV while my dad was taking a shower because we were going to go. And my friend told me, he said, it's on Laurel Canyon across the street from the May Company.
Okay.
And I got my dad out of the shower and he was doing a demonstration on TV, you know, and the person that was doing the interview said, hey, where's your address? And he gave the address and he said, it's on Laurel Canyon across the street from the May Company.
And this was your Sensei Bill?
Yeah, that's my, yeah.
Okay, yes.
So what we shot down there, and as I was coming in the front, he was coming in the back, and he walked over to me and he goes, what you want?
What do you want, fun something?
I was like, I want to take karate. And he goes, oh, okay. Come back Friday. And I said, okay. I came back Friday and never left.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Until I went to Vietnam, you know.
Yeah. No, I know you're also a Navy vet, so thank you, of course, for your support.
Wow, you've been doing research.
Yeah, well, I had to temper a little bit. Come on.
Wow.
But speaking of the research, I also read that you were, like, back in the day, like, even went to an MLK march back in the day.
Yeah, I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think that had some influence on you and why you wanted to start training in self-defense?
It had a big thing to do with it because when my buddy and I didn't have a driver's license then, but I had a car. Because my mother moved to California. My dad the stepdad was already out here, and my mother moved to California, and she left the car with me. And I didn't have a driver's license, but my friend did. So we went to Birmingham to get into the march, And I couldn't do that, man. I mean, people would run up and spit in your face. They would throw pee in your face, and they run up and sock people. And Dr. King was still nonviolent, man.
Yeah,
you couldn't.
Can't do anything.
And man, we were like, man, let's get out of here, because we're gonna get in trouble, because I can't take that. And they were sicking dogs on you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed why they stopped was one guy put his dog on it, a German Shepherd, and the dog was reaching for his face like this, and the brother man reached around and grabbed the dog, took his knife out, and yeah, no more dogs.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know
no more
that.
dogs. Yeah.
But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Just don't let me see you shooting no dog.
So when you were training with your sensei, but what was that dynamic like? Meaning like minority-wise versus, I know obviously there's more white folks training than black.
Back in those days. Yeah. When I met him, he was just like a hero to me. He's bow-legged, tall, and had this voice, and I just admired him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't showing me a lot of love at the time. There was other people I guess a lot of brothers had went there and then left as a purple belt and then went back to Pacoima and put on black belt. I said they were black belts and stuff like that. So he was saying, well, how long are you going to stay? And I said, until I die. I'm not leaving. I stayed, and then I was getting drafted, so I joined the Navy. I went to boot camp in San Diego, and I left, and I was like, thank God, I don't want to go to Vietnam,
Right.
So they flew me over to Honolulu, go to Pearl Harbor, get on my ship. 2 weeks later, on the way to Vietnam.
Yeah, right. So much for that. So then when you came off your tours?
Oh, I came right back.
Okay.
I want to tell you the story when I met Jim Kelly.
You come right out of a comic book.
So I came back and I fought in the tournament. I had only been out a week, and I lost right away. My function wasn't good, So I was going to go see my grandmother in Alabama because I hadn't seen her in years, And so I went. They said, go to this store in downtown. So you go downtown, and I'm strutting down there. And as I walk in, I'm looking at shoes, and I hear this salesman tell these people, "Man, don't you go down to the jungle.
Okay.
Just don't go to the jungle, man."
Yeah.
And they were white people.
Jungle Damo headquarters. Yeah, a lot of murder investigations lead right here. One way in, one way out.
So he said, "Don't go to the jungle, man." He looks at me and goes, "Hey, you know where the jungle is?" And I go, "Yeah, I know, I've been there." He goes, "Tell them not to go to the jungle." Okay, don't go to the jungle, And so then he said, "I'm a black belt in karate, and I won't go down there."
God.
And I was like, and I was still brown belt then.
Right.
And I was like, this guy ain't been no black belt, because black belts don't brag like that, So he said, "Tell him again." I said, "Don't go to the jungle." So I was like, he no black belt, But
Right.
So anyway, he sold me the shoes, and then this is in December. Then I bought the shoes, went to Alabama. I came back. So now I'm training. I'm training anymore. So I was still brown belt. I went to San Francisco, and they do it the California State Championship. So I'm laying on the floor stretching, and all of a sudden this guy goes, "Excuse me," and I looked up, and it was Jim Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah, I go, "Hey, I know you," and he goes, "You do?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "You sold me some shoes right before Christmas." He goes, "Oh yeah." I said, "You were telling the people not to go to the jungle." He goes, "Oh my God!" So he shook my hand. He lost his first fight. I won grand champion.
Wow.
And I was on the road then after that. Yeah.
So speaking of when you came back and like famous false personality, you also trained or were classmates with Benny the Jet, right?
Yeah, when I started karate, Sensei Benny, I still address him as Sensei Benny, but I only called one person Sensei, and that was my instructor. That was Bill Ryusaki, until he passed away. But I called him Sensei Benny because he was a purple belt, and I didn't know him. Nobody introduced you. Like when you come now, you get hey, this is this. Right. So I remember he did a jump spinning back kick, and I was like, what the hell is that? I was like, oh my God. So I ran up to Sensei and I go, what was that kick he did? So he goes, I don't know, I didn't see it. So he asked, then they do it again. So the guy was holding the bag, and Benny was 14 and I was 18.
Wow.
And so,
started young. That's
yes.
Right.
So he goes, he runs, he jumps in there, did the spinning back kick, knocked the guy backwards. I was just like, damn. And, ooh, I want to learn how to do that, you know.
He's used that in a lot of his fights.
Yeah. We fought 3 times in different tournaments. The first time he won 2-1, and then we fought a second time and I won 2-1, and then we went to one of the biggest tournaments at the time in Salt Lake City, and we were all in the same division. Me, Howard Jackson, Sensei Benny, we were all in the same division. So we said, like, man, we're gonna eliminate each other, you know. So Howard wanted to fight Benny. He did, you know, his thing was to beat Benny Urquidez. Okay. And I went to middleweight, and all of us won first place except Benny and Howard had to fight first place, and it was a good fight. But Howard he could really jump, you know, and he did a really nice hook kick while he was in the air. But Benny stepped out of the way. When he came down, some kid had dropped a candy wrapper on the floor. So when he came down, his foot slid out like this, and he tore his knee up. Yeah, he landed like this, and he tore his knee, and he never got over that. You know, he never got over that. Anyway, Benny won first place, and he got $500. I won, and I got $500. He and I fought for grand champion. Okay. He beat me 2-1. Yeah, and then we fought in another tournament. He beat me 2-1. You know.
So we're talking about tournament fighting. Like, I know you started with point fighting, and then moved over to full contact. Like, how did that all happen?
Well, everybody wanted to do it. Okay. You know, the thing about point karate, you could have a fight in Pacoima or East LA, and it's the world championship, you know. And And this guy was matter of fact, my buddy Howard Jackson, he was doing the movie in Hawaii, and then the producer asked him, "Hey, you're a world champion?" He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "How come every time I meet somebody in karate, they're a world champion? Doesn't matter. Every time I meet somebody, they're world. How many world champions do you have? You know?" Yeah, he was like frustrated over it. You know, I'm sick of hearing this. You know. So they started. It was called Full Contact Karate, and this organization started the PKA. And at the time, the boxing commission had nothing to do with it, so they were making up their own rules and stuff. You had to wear these soft gloves and these bunny rabbit pads on, you know, and we would fight, you know. And I had won my first fight, won my second fight at the sports arena. It's torn down now. Sports arena.
Right.
So I had to fight this little guy named Lenny Ferguson. He's a Muslim now, but I got disqualified for him because, you know, when you do something for 15 years at the time or something, you get habit to it. So Lenny and I were really going at it, and I grabbed him and I kneed him in the groin. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't, you know, I mean, he knew I wasn't trying to do it, you know. Right. So they took some points away from me at what they were doing at the time. Right. And then we locked up again. I kneed him in the groin again, you know. So they disqualified me.
And speaking of other talents that are out there too, Steve Muhammad, who I talked to actually on a show a while ago, that was back when he was in the tournament circuit too. Did you get to actually mix it up with him, or you just kind of...
No, but you know what he did? Yeah. He came down to my school, and I didn't know he was coming, but I had always invited him. I had my own school then. So he came down to the school, man, and I was calling everybody, "Hey, come on down, I want to show you something." He came down and I introduced him to everybody, man. They were taking pictures, and he was larger than life.
Yeah,
you know. The first time I saw him fight, it was my very first tournament at the college, junior college, right off the 101 by the airport. And he was walking around, and he had a hat in the back of his black belt, and I was just like a purple belt then. And I asked Sensei, I said, "Look at that guy with a hat in the back of his belt." I said, "Isn't that disrespectful? You know, why would you do that?" And he said, "You don't know who that is?" And I go, "No, it's my first tournament." And he goes, "That's Steve Sanders." That's Steve Sanders. Yes, he said, "That's Steve Sanders." And I was like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "Man, you know, we had 2 black belts and Arnold Urquidez." And Arnold had left our school and opened his own school. Shit, man, Steve went through them like Grant went through Richmond.
Wow, wow, dude, I heard he was a fighting dude.
Man, he was, and I was just like, oh my God.
Right.
Forget Bruce Lee, that's who I want to be.
Right.
That's it. That's my bad mother.
That's who I want to fight like. You know him and Bruce Lee fought.
So here's the thing. I asked.
Nobody's gonna tell you.
Yeah, right.
See, nobody's gonna tell you.
I asked Sensei Muhammad. I said, did you all mix up? He's like, oh no, Bruce was my friend.
Yeah.
When you met Bruce at the time, were you ever able to actually spar with him or fight with him, or was it just kind of training?
Oh no, Bruce was my friend. Many people don't know, but he and I trained together. And yes, we did move with each other.
They were.
Right.
But what happened was, Bruce Lee saw him fight. Okay. I was at the International when they were doing it, and then I was just like, damn, man. And Bruce Lee was standing next to Mr. Parker, and he said, wow, I like the way that guy fight. I'd like to work out with him. And Mr. Parker said, that's my black belt. Oh, nice. So they set up a time to go to Mr. Parker's school in Pasadena, but everybody had this. I mean, the guy I was with last night, he was there. It's another guy. He was there at the fight last night, but he wasn't part of the fight, And I asked him about it, and he was like, "It was a good fight." I said, "Yeah, but come on, man, give me some. Yeah, give me some stuff, man." Right. And he said, "It was a good fight." But the only thing he told me was, in the movie, Bruce Lee got all these fancy kicks, and Steve's hands were fast as lightning.
Right.
But they said in the fight they had. Steve had better kicks and Bruce Lee had better hands,
Really?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, because Bruce gave him the name of the hands.
Yes. Right, but nobody, the people that were there still won't tell what happened. I got to meet Bruce Lee.
Oh, did you?
It's a weird thing. We were working out and Sensei had left, like he normally do. He goes somewhere and he does stuff, and he came back and said, class up. Face to back, pay respect to the sensei, boom, bow, So then this little Chinese guy come walking in, and they're like, that's Bruce Lee, that's Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
So now we were punching like we were working out like this, So, but the thing was, he and Bruce Lee was gonna be in a movie with Sharon Tate, and they were gonna fight each other. What's his name did that movie, and Bruce Lee's daughter went nuts. Quentin Tarantino did. Yeah. His daughter wrote some nasty stuff, man, because he said he made Bruce Lee look like a fool, at one time. Yeah, so I didn't like that either.
Yeah,
But Bruce Lee came in, and he was kind of standoffish a little bit, but they were rehearsing to do a movie with Sharon Tate.
That's me. I play Miss Carlson, the klutz.
And then Charles Manson had her killed, so that did the whole thing. So that was the end of it. We went to shake his hand, since he said, so we went over and shook his hand. And so he was just like, okay, let's go, so they left. And I didn't see him in person again after that.
So no fights that day?
No, okay. Man.
Talk to me a little bit about now transitioning over, becoming a referee. What was that like, and what made you want to say?
Well, I didn't. I was fight for the PKA, the Professional Karate Association, and this guy named JT Will was doing all the refereeing, and the husband and wife that started the PKA, they called me one time and said, "Hey, Cecil, I know you're fighting for us, but we want you to referee. It's getting expensive flying JT Will from Cincinnati all the way out here and then back, and hotels and stuff like that. And then would you referee?" And I said, "I don't know how to referee." And they said, "No, you know the sport, I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And I got out and I started refereeing, and I was just like, "Wow, I can do this."
Yeah.
I can do this. And so I refereed every fight. At one point, I was the only licensed referee in the state of California.
Wow, right.
And I was the first person to go to Nevada and referee kickboxing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was the first to do that, But you wasn't making a lot of money at the time, and
And you were one of the first to do MMA also, right? And all that too.
yeah.
So one thing kind of led to the other.
One thing kind of, the full contact thing, it was almost like point karate. Everybody, we was the world champion. We've had a world champion fight in Texas, so they were the world. We had one in Washington State, DC rather, and they were the world. And then, boy, MMA came.
Yeah.
Man, that shut all that up. That shut all that stuff up, man. Everybody, I'm the best. I'm the baddest. I was I could do that, and I could do this, and we're gonna da da da. And I was like, oh God, this is just like point karate, and. Right. I mean, it was good when I first started my first fight. I did a championship fight, a world championship fight. It was Alvin Prouder and from the BKF, and somebody else. I forgot the guy's name right now, but Alvin tore him a new one, man.
Wow.
Alvin did really, really well, and he was ranked way up there high. And at the time, when I first started doing full contact karate, I remember I got honorable mention one time.
Okay.
I got honorable mention. I was hey, look at my name. I took it to work. Hey, look at my name down there. See that? Hey,
Do something made it, mama. It's a success.
So I kept fighting and winning, and next thing I know, I was the #1 fighter in California. Sensei Benny had dropped down to 3 because he wasn't doing that anymore. He was doing kickboxing. Yeah, so he kind of left that alone. He wasn't fighting for that organization anymore. So I guess they wanted to, they were dropping it out. So I was #1 in California, and then that's when they asked me to do referee. Okay. So I went to referee, and everybody's, wow, man, I didn't know you could referee. I didn't either. So we started doing it, and I started refereeing. I don't know if I ever fought again, but I kept refereeing every week. Every time they had a fight, they would ask me to come do the fight. Right. And sometimes it's like 20 fights. I went to Sacramento, San Jose, I think it was. And I did a show there, and I refereed every fight.
Wow.
Yeah, I fought every fight, man. It was like ridiculous,
You got an interesting style, because I've seen you in some fights where you literally jump in between, the guy goes down, make sure the other guy doesn't get
Oh yeah, you got to make sure that happens too,
You're doing flips on top of people.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you guys, you're taking your job.
Those guys, it wasn't as organized as it is now, and because you do something stupid like that, you're gonna get suspended, or you may never fight, you get fined and all that,
So here's a question for you, since you've been refereeing, you've done full contact. Do you think traditional martial artists have a realistic view of what they really think they can do, in UFC, since now it's such a controversy?
Well, I think they thought they knew what they could do.
Okay.
Strangely enough, all the karate people that were kung fu fighters was doing all the winning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were doing all the winning. Tayari Casel, he beat Benny Urquidez.
Oh, wow.
It was at that famous arena in New York.
Oh, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
So they had a show there, and Sifu fought Benny Urquidez. And anyway, they said Sifu won the fight, and it went down as that. But nobody really counted it, The rating people didn't change anything with them, but everything was kind of unorganized, just like the UFC was at the time, when they first started, They were just choking everybody out. And I was so happy that started, because kickboxing and full contact karate started to be just like point karate was, It was just like that, and it was like, man, come on, you got to get some legitimate stuff here, man.
Right, because then UFC the Gracies came into town and changed everything.
There was a guy in Vegas, and he had a Muay Thai school, and he said the world's best. How did he put that? The world's best.
The world's best
fight organization. Then they put under there Muay Thai. Yeah, Muay Thai, the world's best. The Gracies came. He said the world's best organization, stand up.
Right, because the Gracies came and literally, like you say, and choked everybody else.
They had a thing in Black Belt magazine, and they were talking to the Gracies.
Yeah.
And they said, well, you can't. They were telling Hoist them, you can't beat a Muay Thai fighter the next seven was, oh, well, you can't beat a Thai fighter from Thailand. Oh, right. You can't beat, you know, in Thailand they have A, B, and C fighters. Yes. You can't beat an A fighter
in Thailand.
Oh.
Everything was like.
Yeah, man, it was funny. It was so good to see a legitimate organization and a legitimate world champion. You know, not a guy that fought in the back of his yard with two people and called himself the world champion. You know, it was really good. You know, to see that. You know,
right, to see them change the game. So I'll wrap it up. Let me ask you, since you've seen it all, been in these rings, doing this wrestling so long, and people that are coming into the sport, what do you think the biggest things they should learn? Or, you know, biggest techniques, you know, that they should kind of try to master before they get into UFC?
Oh, the ground. Yeah, you gotta learn. You gotta get on the ground, man. You know, that's what the Gracies was. Nobody know about fighting on the ground. You know, they got you. I got you. You know, next thing you know, they are getting choked out. You know, and so everybody had. What changed MMA? I couldn't believe it. What changed MMA was wrestling.
Right. Okay.
When wrestlers start to get into the MMA, I mean collegiate wrestling, like Matt Hughes and all those guys, you know, they were collegiate wrestling. Randy Couture, you know Randy Couture. Of course. Yeah. He went to the Olympics as an alternate, I believe. But he went to the Olympics. He came back. He's teaching wrestling, and he was getting like $35,000 a year or something like that. And his friend told him, "Hey, why don't you try this UFC thing, man? You know, they make $100,000, you know, if you win the thing." He goes, "I ain't gonna do that." His friend signed him up. Didn't tell him.
Wow.
He gets a phone call one day. "Hey, Randy Couture, yes, hey, your ticket is coming to the." What? Wait a minute, time out. What ticket? "Oh, for your fight in the UFC." He goes, "What?" And his friend was there like this. You know, so he went to the UFC, won grand champion.
Right.
And it was all over. It was the wrestling. Man, the wrestling came. All those guys were wrestling, and Hoist fought this guy. God, what's his name? Yeah, Chemo. Yeah. He came in with a cross on his back, man, and you know, he didn't win Hoist, but he wore out Hoist.
Right.
And Hoist couldn't fight anymore because he was just worn out. He won that fight, but he couldn't. And then they had to put a substitute in, which was I think it was Ken Shamrock's brother, Frank Shamrock. I think it was Frank Shamrock. He went in, and then he ended up winning the thing, you know, because you know they couldn't. But that's what they did at the time, you know. But when it came to Vegas, man, it got organized like crazy. What made MMA like it is, what it is now, was New Jersey.
I am not going to New Jersey.
They had a fight in New Jersey, and one of Chuck Liddell's students was John Hackerman and stuff was fighting, and they used to call him No Hands Gans because he wrestled, punch, you know, elbow and stuff, but no hands, you know. Right. Gans got the guy down, man, and boom, elbowing him, elbowed the crap out of him, man. Blood was flying all over the place. And then when the show was over, you know, the UFC wanted to come back, you know, and they were saying, that thing you did there, that ain't never gonna happen in this state again. Ain't gonna happen again. So they said, you know, the Petito brothers that bought the UFC, well, tell us what you don't like, we'll do it, you know, because we gotta get this thing going. So he said, you can't do this, and this. And they said, okay, we won't do it. So that's why you couldn't elbow a person in the head you can now, but you can't kick them when they're down. Right. You know, and then they had all the rest of the things that they didn't like, you know, and they had a whole list of, I think it was like 35 things. So the UFC changed that, and it's as organized as it is now. It was all because of New Jersey.
All right, so the last question I have you, your list, if you had a top five martial artists or most influential martial artists.
Do that include MMA?
Karate, MMA.
In no certain order.
Yeah, no certain order, whatever you like.
Order. Mr. Muhammad, Benny the Jet, Howard Jackson, all the Gracie family.
Right on.
Yeah. Chuck Liddell, don't know if I can give 5.
I was gonna say, right.
Ronda Rousey, who revolutionized this thing for women. You know?
Okay, pioneer, absolutely.
You know, and Peter Cunningham.
You like a little kumite? Sure, I'm always ready to fight. Good, there's a good fighter here from LA. He wants to fight our best people. You're our best.
Peter came from Canada, trained with the Urquidez family, and he had his first fight in California at Hollywood High School outside. Okay. And he comes in, you know, the music is going, man, he moonwalks, you know, all this stuff. And I was like, oh God. You know? And he runs around, he does the moonwalking in the ring, he does the splits and all this stuff, you know. And I was going like, oh God, man. And this guy gonna get killed out there.
Right.
And he goes out there, and I said, "You ready? You ready? Fight!" And that's when before I start my Mike Beltran called it the Cecil slice.
Right. Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's your thing.
so I started the fight, and this is me. The first thing he did was right upside the guy's head. I was like, whoa, what happened there? The guy's on the ground, you know. And Peter ended up knocking him out. I mean, he was like the fastest thing that I've ever seen. And,
wow.
You know, one big quote about Peter, you know, after they brought this guy out from Florida, I think, and Benny told him, Sensei Benny told him, hey, this guy is 16-0 with 16 knockouts. Be careful with this guy, don't fool around, you know. Right. So they come out, I bow him in. I'm the only referee then. I'm bow him in. Yep. And Peter kicked him in with a whip kick in the back of the thigh. Pow! Like that. Nice. And the guy goes like this.
Starts crying.
And then Peter kicked him again. Oh, man. So he started, you know, and I started laughing. You know,
right.
Can't do that. The boxing commission was there. Man. I said, but it was funny.
Right.
How can you be 16-0 with 16 knockouts? You can't take a whip kick, and then you cry.
Right.
So finally, I ended up stopping the fight because Peter was just too much for him. And Peter revolutionized this whole thing, man. 50-0, 50-0-1.
Wow.
50-0. Benny Urquidez, 60-0.
Yeah, no, legendary.
You know, those are the guys. Chuck Norris.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
of course.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Mike Stone. You know, Louis Delgado.
Yes, a lot of those guys.
Tayari Casel. You know, they could all. Believe it or not, he fought really good, man.
I do. I've seen the old footage, and he's a legend.
I had never seen a kung fu fighter fight like him, man, and he did kung fu.
Right, and
he did kung fu. He didn't,
guy.
You know, he didn't change to this fighter or change to a boxer. You know, he did what he learned. You know, and he won with it too. You know,
absolutely.
You know, I don't know if you can name 5. You know.
Yeah, it's tough. I know. Well, Sensei, so glad we could do this, man, and thank you so much for doing this with me.
It is my absolute pleasure.
And if people want to learn more about you, you on you have a website or things like that, or the people can reach out.
Yeah, they can reach out to me on Facebook.
Facebook? Okay.
Yeah, just reach out to me on Facebook.
Well, thank you so much, brother.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Hi, this is Cecil Peoples. I want to thank you for watching Kung Fu Chronicles.
Thanks, sir.
2 thumbs up.